Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm super excited to chat with Sam Ryan from RoamFest. RoamFest is a woman-centered mountain biking festival that celebrates inclusivity, community, and the joy of mountain biking. Founded by Ash and Andy, the event aims to create a welcoming space for women, non-binary, and gender-diverse riders of all skill levels. RoamFest offers a variety of activities, including group rides, skills clinics, workshops, social events, and a party on one of their main nights. It's all designed to foster connection and empowerment within the mountain biking community. The festival is known for its commitment to inclusivity, providing scholarships to increase accessibilities, and partnering with organizations that support underrepresented groups in cycling. By prioritizing diversity and creating a supportive environment, RoamFest has become a cornerstone event for those looking to engage within the mountain biking community in a very meaningful way. With events held in locations like Fruita, Colorado, RoamFest continues to expand its reach, offering more opportunities for riders to connect, learn, and grow together. So I am very excited to chat with Sam today. And so we're going to talk about all the things you can expect if you come to RoamFest and what to expect if you want to plan coming the one next year. Thank you for being here, Sam. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice to have this chat. And like you said, we just get to have a conversation about a bike party. So I'm stoked to have it.
That's right. It's a bike party because I remember a few years back, I did have Ash on the pod and that's what she kept saying. I was like, yes, bike party.
Yeah. You really do have to experience it to know what it's like. You know, we get vendors and partners coming in like they've been to Sea Otter, they've been to all these other festivals. And it's like, really, once you've come to Rome Fest, it's like, oh, I get it. You know, your shoulders can come out of your ears. Yes, you've been running demo all summer, but this is a different event. But we'll dive deeply into that.
Yes, we will. It really is different. My first Rome event was a few years ago when Rome was still in a few locations, including Sedona. So Sedona was my first one. And I'll never forget because I went by myself. And I'll never forget Ash doing her intro. And she was saying, you know, who's here by yourself? Don't be shy. Raise your hand. So I was like raising my hand, like feeling all sheepish and shy. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was something to the effect of, connect with those people, go on rides with those people, talk with them because it's very brave. It takes a lot of courage to come here by yourself. It was something to that effect. And that really hit me because it's true. Like so many people don't want to come to these things by themselves. They'll feel intimidated or they won't fit in or they won't make friends. And so that was the complete opposite experience that I had at Rome Fest. So for those that are unfamiliar, can you describe a little bit what Rome Fest is and what the attendees can expect when they come to the biggest bike party in the world?
Yeah, biggest bike party for women and femmes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what you spoke to as being a newbie or being a solo rider there and coming and Ash calling that in and saying like, these are the folks that really is the ethos that Rome was founded on, was that, you know, if you have felt excluded, which for so many folks, really predominantly a lot of folks that come to Rome Fest or that Rome Fest was designed for, have felt excluded as a mountain biker. And that is the opposite of what you should feel like at Rome. So as all of our staff was trained as volunteers first, and the biggest thing we train our volunteers in is find the outliers, find the folks that are looking like they're sitting by themselves. We want those folks, everybody, to feel like they are welcomed and seen and celebrated. So that really is really what it was founded on. And that's I think what participants can expect is you'll arrive to the festival where we hold it now. We've done multiple locations. So it started in 2017. We calculated this morning this will be our 14th festival.
Wow.
We've done a lot of festivals.
That's incredible.
And so much feedback comes from every festival, and we've learned so much as we've gone. And the primary goal is that we hope everybody that comes to the festival feels excited about mountain biking, sure, but really excited about the friends that they've made, the skills that they've learned, the connections that they've developed, and the capacity that they have discovered in themselves to either start similar things in their own communities or to get up the courage to join those group rides that have looked a little more intimidating, or to start the group ride for women or femmes or non-binary folks that are in your community, or it doesn't exist yet. And you might now have a little bit more courage or skills or connections to build those in your own community. So you might come thinking, well, I love to mountain bike and a weekend shredding sounds great. And I think you will absolutely experience that. You'll also experience workshops from, we have 45 partners coming to Fruta this year, everything from how to fix your derailleur to fix your own, flat, to how to start group rides in your own community, to how to advocate for policy changes in your local area that impacts your ability to recreate. There's so much information when you gather. We'll have probably about 700 participants, 700 to 800 participants this year, about
Wow.
200 partners, volunteers, and staff. So it'll be about 1,000 folks, predominantly women, non-binary, and femme folks there. And yeah, of that, we know you'll make friends. We know you'll walk away
Yep.
with probably a new favorite pair of chamois shorts. um, there's so much apparel there from brands that you have and have not heard of. So it's a fun place to shop. It's a fun place to learn and ride, camp,
Yeah. Yeah.
so many things.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're so excited to be there this year to help with everything we can as well. It's going to be incredible. I've got myself and two other team members coming, and neither one of them have ever been. And so, like, we're super excited. Amanda's like, I'm camping, dude. If you want to experience Rome Fest, I've heard you got to camp at
Yeah.
Fruta. So I'm
Yeah.
camping, I'm vibing with everyone. Like, that's what we're doing. I was like, all right, dude,
I
that's what you
love
want to
that.
do.
I
You
think
go
that's
for it.
like, that really is the struggle, is once you've come, it's like, well, I have to go again. And then brands want to keep bringing more people from their teams to really
Yeah.
experience it and to be able to permeate what, you learn a lot, like language alone. You'll learn a lot about language around inclusive language and where you might
Yes.
have been, making comments or saying things or using outdated language that isn't as inclusive as you would want to be or your company wants you to be. And that will be a skill you could learn. And so companies want to send new brand representatives and new members. And then there's always the ones that are like, you can't not let me go now that I know it exists.
It's like every year, part of the roster, I have to go to Rome Fest this year. I don't care which event, I have to be at Rome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, can you tell us a little bit why it was settled on Fruta as being the main event? Is it location? Is it access to trails? Like, what was it about Fruta that really made that like the staple location for Rome Fest?
Yeah, because we've done it in many, right? We did Sedona, we did
Yeah,
Brevard, we did Knoxville, Tennessee, and then Fruta. And in all of those, really honing in on camping is crucial to the Rome Fest experience because you
yeah,
really get to drop in, and anybody and everybody listening knows that when you are dropping in and you're sleeping there, you're waking there, you have limited access to showers, you get
yeah,
that full immersive experience where your perspective really shifts. And so the camping is vital. That being said, Fruta allows for all 1,000 of us on site to camp, which is pretty unheard of. In Knoxville, we had
yeah.
some camping capacity, but not enough. Sedona was even less, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So Fruta really has that. It also has adaptive trails, which we've discovered Knoxville did as well. But Sedona is very challenging for adaptive riders. And so that was really a big, crucial part of our vetting process of like, what is the venue that we really want to hone in on? And then the variety in trails, it really appeals to quite a range of riders. It really challenges folks that love techie, rocky, challenging trails. And then it also appeals to more, we say beginner advanced or beginner intermediate. If you've really not done a lot of mountain biking, Fruta is going to be a little challenging for you,
Mm-hmm.
but it does appeal to a bigger range than Sedona. Sedona pushed
Right.
everybody to be really good at tech.
Yeah.
Fruta,
Sedona's on a different level, honestly.
and if you haven't ridden there, ride there. Just learn about roundabouts and like find a time of year when it isn't zooed, which I don't know that exists anymore. But Sedona
I
is
think it does in the winter time. That's like the only time it exists.
yeah. Yeah, we used to do November and we loved that window. We got a little snow one year, but yeah,
Yeah.
fruity trails are just you've got those big flowy, Joe's, and you've got those great flowy trails. You can ride right from the venue, which is huge for us. And then we also have a significant and elaborate shuttle system. So we do get people off site. We can get people to Cocopelli. We can get them up to lunch loops. We can get people to different trails and spread folks out well. But there's a significant amount of riding right from the venue, which is just so great.
Yeah, that's incredible. We're hoping to be able to do that, help you guys with shuttling this year too. We got to talk more about that. But
Yes.
so how can someone participate in Rome Fest, whether as a writer, a volunteer, or a supporter? Like, is it, what do you recommend? Do you guys, are you still taking volunteers? Yeah, talk a little bit about how folks can get involved in that.
Yeah. And when we say folks, we are open to all, as participants, all minus cis men. So that really is the one category of folks that we are not a festival for. But outside of that, all other folks on the gender spectrum, yeah. But we definitely say it is a femme-centered space. So making sure that that's a place you're comfortable in. That being said, if you are a partner or a brand, you will initially contact me if you're interested in coming to the festival. At this point, I think we are actually sold out of vendor space. We have a couple more 10 by 10s that we have the capacity
Wow.
to wiggle in, and I always squeeze it because I love having the vendors there. I think that gives such a great experience for everybody. But as partners, they can reach out through the website. There's applications for that. Folks typically come as volunteers once they've experienced it. That is most of our volunteers, as they've come as a participant and they just say, we want to support, we want to contribute to the energy that is generated on that weekend. How can we help? And you can volunteer in general festival support. So camping, parking, schlepping, shuttling,
Schlepping.
that's the official title, schlepping. Um,
Can I get a name tag that says that? Like Mia
official
schlepping. Official
official
schlepper.
schlepper. Yes, exactly. Has a lot of S and CHs in that. And then there's
That's
also
awesome.
our ride guides. So our ride program is really comprehensive in that we take volunteers that know the Grand Valley, that know this area and know the trails. When we were in Knoxville, we took locals for that area as well. And invite them to be the ride guides. And those are small groups. We try to say no bigger than 7 for our permit. And they are not coaches, but they really are just guiding and navigating the trail. And sometimes folks like to stop in session. You'll be able to distinguish when you sign up for rides. Like, is this a sessioning ride where we are going to be stopping, or is this
Hmm.
we're going? So you can really pick. And over 14 festivals, we've really figured out how to please as many people or give as much of a positive experience to as many people as possible. And those ride guides are everything. Our volunteers are everything. We have
Yeah.
probably 60 volunteers, not counting the ride guides, and usually about 50 ride guides. So it's
Wow.
huge. Um,
That's
that is,
way bigger than Sedona.
yeah, we have a lot of support. Maybe it's not, maybe she doesn't have 50 volunteers. I think she probably does. I think we had 50 because we do great jerseys for the ride guides. And I think we had 50 jerseys that we did last year for those folks.
That's incredible.
Volunteers, ride guides. And then most of our staff has been brought on because they were super volunteers that wouldn't stop volunteering.
Yeah.
And we just finally were like, you're still here and it's Sunday night at 9 p.m. and everybody else has gone home and you're still helping us pick up micro trash. Do you want a job?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
most of our staff have come on.
That's
And
incredible.
that makes for such a rad team. I don't know that I can ever not work in events now because the energy when everybody is working towards a common goal is so infectious. It's like a
Yeah.
beehive that we're all working to produce the best honey, and
Yeah.
it's that energy is just, it carries with you for a very long time. And the hangover
It
is
does.
real by the time you go home and go back to life and have to kind of conform and confine and put on a little bit more of that armor to go through your day-to-day life that you didn't have to wear. You need a Rome Fest more than once a year, but at this point, we only have it once a year.
That's awesome. I always tell people what I have so many memorable memories from Rome, but one of my biggest ones was when you're going on a ride, and even if you're just sessioning, you just have all these people cheering you on, regardless. So I always say, like, if I had those folks cheering me on, I would never be depressed. Like
Yeah.
today, I was having a really rough morning. And so I'm like, I could use that energy of like, you got this, girl. Like, what? Yes, go
Yeah.
for it. And like, just a cheerleader. You're just surrounded by cheerleaders. And it's absolutely incredible. My cheeks were hurting from smiling by the time Sunday rolled around.
Yeah. I think that captures it so beautifully, is is that cheering squad that you will have no matter where you are at Rome Fest
Yes.
it is incredible. And you can carry it with you a little bit, you know, you can kind
Yeah.
of hold that energy with you. But I think that's some of my favorite moments. And we have a pretty robust inclusion program that wasn't an afterthought, but really was embedded because Ash and Andy, two women, queer women,
Yeah.
started the festival as like, we want a place where we can feel included.
Yeah.
Realize that there's a lot of layers to who has felt excluded traditionally in this industry, in
Mm-hmm.
recreation, in so many areas. But I think that those are some of my favorite memories, is watching, and our BIPOC fellowship is one of those our biggest inclusion program. I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
No,
Uh,
go for it.
but we do, because mountain biking is incredibly white, it is still very, very, very white. And so that was a big piece of feedback that we received from the beginning, is that Rome Fest is very representative of the mountain biking industry in race representation. And so,
Yeah.
yes, we have a lot of femmes, we've got non-binary folks, we've got a lot of queer folks, but it was typically BIPOC folks, Black, Indigenous, and people of color that were not feeling like that was their space. And so
Yeah.
bringing in Brooke Gowdy was a really big part of that. We have Rachel Olzer, two incredible advocates and mountain bikers, just absolute shredders. And they have really built up those programs. So we have about, I think we have around 20 to 30 scholarship recipients for the BIPOC scholarship. And then Brooke Gowdy also does her program called the Rome Rowdies, of bringing in intermediate riders, Black women,
Mm-hmm.
that she wants to help advance into that next, into a more advanced level of mountain biking.
Mm-hmm.
But those cheering squads that you hear people speak of, and there's videos that are captured out on the trails and photos that are posted of just being cheered on and feeling like we're all on the same team. And
Yeah.
the team is just lift each other up, because
Yeah.
as we're realizing, there's not a finite amount of space for liberated humans in leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is
Mm-hmm.
an infinite amount of space for people that have found their power. And so when we cheer each other on, when we get to that place, the inclusion programs, I mean, it happens across the board in all the areas, but I think specifically I'm thinking of a video that I just recently saw, and I think she was a BMXer or a roadie. And she came to Rome Fest like, I don't know, I applied for this scholarship and I got it. And she came and she was like, I felt like totally a fish out of water. I had a different helmet than everybody else. I had different gear than everybody else. And that feeling of like, you're not an imposter at Rome Fest, I
Yeah.
think is the biggest thing. Nobody's an imposter at Rome Fest. You can have never been on a bike, but you come with a brand and you're probably going to like biking by the end of the weekend. You're probably going to try it, and no one's going to make you feel weird for what you're wearing or how you look, or that you don't know what the travel is on your bike. You know, there's none of that you might experience when you're in more of a broy mountain bike community.
And that's one of the things I really love, and that I try preaching to people in general, is that no one gives a shit. No one should give a shit about what you're wearing and what bike you have. It's ultimately, are you having a good time? That's all that matters. Yesterday I was scouring Reddit, as one often does. And on this thread, there was a person, I'm assuming it was a guy, and he said that he got ridiculed for wearing a full face helmet on the trail. And he's like, I didn't think that was really cool. Like, this guy was making fun of me. He said I looked like an idiot because we were on a trail. He had really good positive feedback to saying, like, that person's an idiot who said that to you. Like, don't listen to them. Like, who knows what you could have experienced to want to wear full face. Maybe you feel more comfortable with the full face helmet, right? So, and I reflected on that thinking, you don't feel like that when you ride with women in general, or femmes. I don't. I've never felt like someone would criticize me for wearing a full face or being completely padded up when I'm riding, you know. Yeah, I took a really bad stumble and almost broke my knee, so I'm going to wear knee pads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Candace on our team, she, a few years ago in Sedona, she was on a trip with Jess Hanna, and she tore her entire mouth falling. She like missed a gap jump. No one called it. She cased it and she went sliding on her face. Like, she needed to have plastic surgery.
Oh.
She only wears a full face helmet now. Like, why wouldn't you if you had something like that, you know? So anyway, I digress, but that's one of the best things I love about Rome.
And I think that's valid, is why wouldn't you, is because one person might have made a comment to you that stuck with you, right? Like, it's those experiences of feeling less than that.
Yeah.
I think it was founded for Ash and Andy. RoamFest was
Yeah.
founded on that. Nobody should feel less than.
Agreed.
Everybody gets to come and feel like they belong. And that's a very big difference. Is if I go to, I mean, my local bike shops here have really shifted over the years. I think it has shifted in so many areas. I have seen this industry shift. I'm sure you have too,
Mm-hmm.
tremendously, to be much more welcoming and accepting. But, I used to feel so uncomfortable as a newer mountain biker going into a bike shop and saying something's wrong with my bike and really not understanding a lot about it. And, I don't even know what's
Yeah.
wrong with it. And part of that was my own to overcome. Part of it was, not feeling received or not being
Mm-hmm.
supported by the people that were at the bike shops. But at Rome Fest, I work specifically as the director of partnerships. So I get to work with all of our brands. And if a brand is coming in and is newer, I have a lot of intentional conversations with those specific people that will be on site. And we've gotten the feedback of this person, was asked or was making a lot of assumptions about our lack of understanding instead of asking
Mm-hmm.
questions, right? So integrating that feedback over the many years to say, let's make sure, not just like don't mansplain, because that's an oversimplification, but
Right.
specifically, what is it to be curious of the participants that are walking in, to treat every single person as though you know nothing about them and
Yeah.
you're just there to learn, because that energy is so different. People get to walk in, and if the brands are, who are you? What do you love? What gets you
Yeah.
stoked? Where do you love to ride? And get to ask those questions. They'll learn so much about the participants and build brand loyalty for life, which
Yeah.
is the ROI that I do have to help explain on that side of things.
Yeah. The whole brand loyalty thing is true, whether you're a bike shop or, a clothing shop or whatever. And I think that kind of hits to why a lot of people in the bike industry, in my opinion, miss um miss their target audience, that they're trying to reach more women and femmes, and I understand that, but they seem to have a barrier as to how to do that when folks are giving them information on how to do that to build that brand loyalty. And it's exactly what you said. It's as simple as asking, like, hey, what gets you going on a mountain bike?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you like to ride? What do you like to do? And my local bike shop here, there's one girl that works in there. Her name's also Mia. She's great. Killer racer. But they're mainly guys, but I've never once felt less than with them.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're like that, because that's their mindset.
Yeah.
And two of the guys are older, they're veterans, they if you look at them, you think they're like these hardcore dudes, but no, they're the sweetest guys. They're like, hey, so just like you said, when I was looking for my first bike like 8 years ago with them, they're like, so what do you like to ride? And I was like, I don't know, I ride around here. What does that matter? And then they explained to me like what travel is, what you need on a bike, like why that matters. And that broke the ice. And to this day, like that ride or die Newbury Park bike shop for me. Like they
Yeah.
are my bike shop.
It's so true. It's so true. That feeling of just being like, yeah, really seen. And we often get asked, our cost per touch, right? Per touch for each of those brands that are there is really high, but you
Yeah.
are interacting with those participants on such a different level at our festival,
Yep.
and you're having a cocktail or a mocktail with them on Saturday night before a famous dance party. You're going to a
Yeah.
workshop with them. There's probably, now we have interpreters, so there might be a individual signing so that it is more accessible for that workshop. They are giving you tools to be able to take back, and that's a huge perk. People love free things that are really useful for them. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it is beautiful to see the loyalty, but just also the relationships that are built. It's
Yeah.
how more folks have actually started working in this industry that aren't cis white male, because they have been to these festivals that have a diverse white rider base, and those
Right.
folks might have been brought in as ambassadors following a Rome Fest, and then brought in,
Yeah.
brought in as a staff member. But that's also the biggest thing, is if you're wondering how to have more diversity in your ridership, of like, we want to actually be able to appeal to mothers, to women, to people of color,
Yeah.
to queer people, to adaptive athletes. Like, if you have those folks working for your company, you're going to be able to have that perspective of, where are we missing the mark? What are we putting out in our promotional materials that might just rub or sound a little off-putting to somebody who is vetting a lot of different brands
Mm-hmm.
out there? And I don't need to go too deep into the brand world. Obviously, that's where my head went. but also, yeah.
But by what you said, I think you have a good point. But also, I feel like the company and or brand needs to want to see that perspective, and they have to be willing to see where they want to make a change or be more inclusive. It's not just slapping a word on there and saying you are, it's actually acting on it and and giving that opportunity to their staff members and seeing, oh yeah, this is what it's like to be a woman, a person of color in this role, right? Like, yeah, we could go into like forever and ever on philosophical talk about this. Afterwards, I'll tell you a little bit about this conversation I had. I had to leave a WhatsApp group because this guy tried to tell me about how mountain biking will never be 50-50 and how the mountain biking world has done so much for women already. And that what is it? What else can we do to make it more inviting for women? There's nothing else we could do. So
Mhm.
that was a little disheartening, but we do have a lot of other folks that are allies. So that's all that matters. Um,
And
that's cool.
knowing,
Yeah,
and
sorry, go
one of
ahead.
the beautiful things too about Rome Fest that I love is our Friday night programming is very different from our Saturday night. I referred to it a little
Yeah,
bit.
so let's talk about that. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about the programming. Like, what do you expect Friday, the
Yeah. So
first day?
you'll arrive on Friday. You'll come in. Our incredibly excited volunteers will greet you. You'll put on a name tag with your pronouns. We will check you in. We'll get your appropriate wristbands, and you'll probably get signed up for rides. Most folks go out early because it's Fruita, because it's the desert. You're going to want to ride earlier rather than later. But the vendor village is also open. So likely you're either grabbing a demo bike or you have your own bike going out on rides, and then workshops will be sprinkled throughout the entire day. So choose your own adventure, truly. By Friday evening, we'll also have food trucks on site, so you can grab breakfast there, lunch there if you don't want to cook for yourself or just don't want to deal with that. And then we provide dinner on Friday night, and then we do a Shred Talks panel, which initially the goal was talk about things that we know need to shift in the industry. So it was, how do we get more women in this industry was the initial topic. And then over the festivals, it was, well, how do we get more folks of color in this industry? Because now there actually are more women, and that's beautiful, but it's still very predominantly white.
Yeah.
So then that topic shifted again. Now this last many festivals, it's really been around how do you build community, inclusion, yes, in big businesses as well. And some of our partners would be able to speak to that. But gosh, we have a lot of our program directors, I would say. So from our different inclusion programs have been able to speak to, like our Rome Media Corps. This year, we're toying with the idea of bringing in some more of the free ride revolutionaries.
Ooh, that's cool.
I mean, just what Rampage and all of that has shifted in this industry is momentous and historical and really worth celebrating and honoring
Yeah.
and learning more about for a lot of us that are just like, we don't really know, or
Yeah.
we just have seen that for the first time, but we don't know quite how revolutionary that is. And then we have a film festival, and that is celebrating, highlighting, amplifying those stories that aren't going to be in the typical film festivals. Yeah, and that's just a blast. It's 2 to 8 minutes shorts is what we love to do, and sometimes we'll do longer segments as well. But that Friday evening is what we hear the most feedback around. Well, I do from brands for sure, of what has really shifted perspective. We had a gentleman, and I tell a story a lot of times, but we had a gentleman, wasn't CEO, but maybe CFO or somebody high up in a prominent bike brand, and he came to the Shred Talks panel and was going to leave on Saturday. And he just said, I've gone on so many group rides and I hear comments being made, and I've always assumed that the woman in the ride would speak up, would say something if something didn't feel right. And he's like, I just realized, like, it is absolutely my responsibility to speak up to those comments that don't land well. Like, it does not, and it should not fall on the responsibility of the one woman on the group ride to speak up and, defend her gender, like really learning. And it sounds so basic, but those learnings, those moments of like, oh, my perspective changed, and that's going to send shifts throughout their company and the rides that person's partaking in. So
that's incredible. That and that speaks volumes too, because if that's a high up person, then hopefully and likely most things are going to change and trickle down.
Totally.
And that's what you need.
Yes.
That's what you need. That's what we were talking about earlier. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
So,
and also hiring up, like the biggest thing I keep hearing too is you have to hire in folks that are not, you know, cis, white, straight men. Like you
yep.
absolutely have to hire in people. But that aside, that's
Yep.
Friday. Saturday, similar choose your own adventure, biking. You're probably getting a little bit more tired, but you've also built a lot of friends. You've discovered the power of e-bikes, probably.
Yep.
You're going to get to that workshop that was too full the day before that you really want to try to hit, because we know that happens. So we do
Hmm.
them. Brands will repeat them. Juliana will do 2 break bleed workshops because they're so popular.
Awesome.
You will do more than one, I'm sure. And then by Saturday evening, that's we feed you again a delicious meal, and then all the brands turn into happiest hour. So serving a cocktail or a mocktail, a dessert snack. Everybody starts getting into costume. We do a fantastic raffle. We raise a lot of money so that we can keep doing all of our inclusion programming, which costs a lot and is absolutely worth it.
Yep.
And then we erupt into a dance party. Specialized has hosted this for many years and just
Yeah.
keeps upping the ante. On a silent disco is how it has usually been, because we have folks from 21 all the way up to, I think, 76 was our oldest rider. So
Incredible.
within that, there's a very large variety of musical tastes.
Yes, there is.
We find that having 3 different playlists on 3 different channels is really helpful. And that is, I think that is a life-changing experience. I know it was for me. That feeling of being able to dance with absolutely no male gaze without any self-consciousness, that is a unique experience that a
Yep.
lot of women and femmes don't get to experience elsewhere. So that, I think that might be, I don't know, there's so many of my favorite moments of Rome.
I'm gonna talk to you like every day, and you're gonna be like, "This was my favorite," and then I'm gonna talk to you Sunday. You'd be like, "I don't know, everything was my favorite."
Yeah. No, but dancing is, I mean, I went to college, I studied dance. So I have like
Oh,
an idea of what dance is supposed to be. And at Rome, you get to just drop it all. Just let anything that is in you come out. And it is so cathartic. And uh, yeah, it is the icing on the cake, I think. Yes, we are a bike party, but we are also, I think, the world's best dance party.
that's incredible. Yeah, I don't disagree. I was there for the dance party. I didn't stay too long, but I just remember the vibe was incredible. My wife came and picked me up afterwards because she was working like the whole day. And she's like, "You didn't want to stay?" And I'm like, "I did, but I'm so tired. Like, I want to have energy for tomorrow."
And we did animal theme for so long, and yeah, we just have, there's photos that are just so unreal of some of the costumes that people show up in. And this last year we did neon. That was incredibly fun. Everything was black light, so the body paint and all that. And we're going to repeat that theme this year so that we don't have all of the folk,
Heck yes.
the waste that happens when you go out and buy a full costume and then you shift themes. So we
Heck yeah.
will do the neon again, because it was just such a hit. And then by Sunday, yeah, you're really depleted, but heart so full. I guess maybe more like your muscles are depleted, but
Yeah.
heart's really full, and you've made so many friends at that point. Like people genuinely get so connected by the time all of those pieces have happened. And so Sunday,
Yeah.
you're riding more with friends, definitely riding e-bikes, utilizing our 18 road shuttles that Mia, you'll be helping us
Yep.
with, just getting people up 6 minutes up the road so that they can come down and not have to pedal.
Yep.
And workshops continue on Sunday, and we pack up by 4 o'clock, and then we are, sleeping in comfy beds by 9 p.m. on Sunday. Hope you are too. But that's really the weekend. And it is, I didn't actually say this, but on Thursday now we have a skills party. So we did add in an extra
Whoa.
day because people are so hungry for skills. And for a long time, we were really clear we were not a clinic. We are not a clinic. We are not a clinic. And we still hold that. We do a skills party on Thursday because folks
Okay.
really do love to walk away with knowing how to do more on their bike than they did when they first got there.
Yeah.
And so last year we got to partner with Ladies All Ride, Lindsay and her
That's
team,
right.
and that was
That's right. Lindsay
exceptional.
was there.
This year they'll be in Switzerland, so we don't have Lindsay, but we have Venture Birds coming in, and then a lot of the
Yes.
same coaches will be coming in. And that is, I think, about 60 folks will be able to do that. And that's an add-on. So you can decide if you want to come a day early and join in that. But people
Yeah,
do love that.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was going to be my question. Like, so are tickets still available? Can people still buy tickets for September?
They can, yeah. So we still have tickets available, but those add-ons will become unavailable pretty soon just because people snatch those up. So that's like if you do know that you want a demo bike, that's an add-on. If you know that you want to be able to go on those guided rides with shuttle access, that's because we have more participants than space for those specific elements of the festival. We lowered the price of the overall festival, and then you can add on those individual kind of a la carte, add
That's
in your
awesome.
whipped cream, add in your sprinkles, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So those will start to become pretty limited. But the festival passes, we're going to make it the biggest festival we've ever had while still maintaining that, we still have about 200 folks there helping hold it. So 600 participants is like a really sweet, sweet number for us. But
I
I
can't
wouldn't
believe
wait. Wouldn't
there's going to be
wait.
1,000 people there.
Yeah, 800 to 1,000. It'll kind of fluctuate a little bit depending on how big we choose to go this year. But it always feels like the right time to have a festival like this. But I'd say this year, maybe more than ever, we need these spaces and we need community as there are more and more limitations put on trans folks and queer
Yep.
folks and women in general. I mean, I'm in Idaho and we don't have reproductive health care for women. It's a weird year, a weird time in the world. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think come to Rome Fest because you will receive a lot of hugs that will help get you through.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot of support. There's very much like-minded people. There's people who are there to support each other and to have a good time together and forget for 3 or 4 days that
Yeah.
we have a lot of horrible things happening in the world right now. Um, but some of the good things you all offer, which I really love, is the inclusion programs that you have and the scholarships. So I really want folks to know that you all at Rome make this incredible effort to offer queer scholarships, BIPOC fellowships, a media scholarship too, right? Can you tell us a little bit about the ones that you offer and then how folks can get involved and apply for those?
Yeah. So those all just went live in the last month. We've had our BIPOC fellowship for many years and it is still thriving and going strong. And if you have come on the fellowship before, there's an opportunity to come back as a mentor. So that program kind of just keeps expanding. We have our queer scholarship this year for the first time. Subaru came in with an offer to support us with a queer scholarship, which has been a pipe dream for us for years and is
Yes.
finally coming true, which is
Yes.
so exciting. And then we have, Brooke Gowdy's program, the Rome Rowdies. We also have the Deaf Shredders program, which isn't a scholarship based, although because the expense of bringing in interpreters for the whole weekend is where our support and our partners help us support. Salsa's coming in to help us big on that one this year. And then the Rome Media Corps started last year. Peak Design collaborated with our nonprofit partner, the Rome Collective, which is a part of Rome, and it is our nonprofit sector. And Peak Design said, we want to see more femme creatives. We wanted the same thing. And that program, I think we had over 80 applicants last year for 8 spots. And that's a mentorship role. So we bring in like already established adventure photographers, videographers, and then we bring in folks that are professionals, but might need that extra foot in the door or connections, networking, things like that. And so those folks are paired together, and then they get paired with a partner at the festival to be able to
Right.
do a photo shoot or something exclusive with that partner. And building connections, building bridges. So many of our brands now say like, hey, who should we use? We're in this area doing this photo shoot. Who should we use? Which that I think is one of the biggest wins of that program, is just having the brands now be really aware of who is telling your stories.
Yeah.
Because that really matters, as you know, who's the person behind the lens and
Yeah.
capturing that. So the Rome Media Corps, those applications are currently open, but only for another week, it looks like, or maybe another 10 days. But
Ooh.
all of those you can find on romefest.com/inclusion.
Okay. I'll put all the links for folks listening. Like links will be in the show notes.
Yep, awesome. Yeah, all of those applications are live currently, but only for another couple weeks for some, 3 weeks for others. But I would definitely, if I think you'll release this within the next week, but
Yeah.
definitely getting on that, because that is a great way to come and reduce that financial barrier if that's a big barrier for you, or reduce any other barriers if any of these are parts of your identity. Definitely looking into
Right.
that. And then even if you don't come under scholarship, we realize that folks want to find more people that they can relate to beyond just, we both like mountain biking.
Yeah.
So I led a parents ride last year, which
That's
was
cool.
so awesome. And I didn't even expect the levels of connection that would happen, of just like, you have an autistic kid, I have an autistic kid, how do you manage that, to I have twins, you have twins. Like, there was so many layers of
Yeah.
that formed on that ride that I just got to witness. And then we have our 50 plus ride, we have a 60 plus ride, solo shredders ride, we have the Cycle Effect is coming in to do a bilingual ride,
So
Spanish English bilingual ride. We have a sober AF ride to help folks find the other sober folks in the festival. And then we've always had our queers, theys, and gays ride. So that happens. And those will happen multiple times on every day, because the demand and the request has been so big of, I would really love to find my
yeah.
people. So
Yes.
that's been a really sweet thing to be able to watch those develop and grow over the years. And then people discover, like, okay, I'm going to go back to my community, not just start a women's ride, but I'm going to start a ride that is around, even more focused. And
Yeah. Which when you think about it, it's what it's needed, right? So they find something at Rome that they needed, that they didn't know they needed, I guess, in a sense. But
yeah,
then they come back and they're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
there's more women that are like this. Let's start a ride for this. Like, yeah, I love that so much. So much comes out of this experience at Rome, and it's beautiful to watch. I'm not even a part of it, and it's rewarding for me to watch and just see all this come to fruition. Like, I can't wait to be there this year and just see all the amazing folks that are going to be there. I think I'm not gonna sleep. I honestly don't think I'm gonna sleep that much at all, because I'm gonna be
you have
excited.
to.
You
You
have.
have to. I
Maybe I'll
always,
take a nap in the
I
truck
tell
as I'm waiting for people to come down.
you should, you should. I know everybody is so tired by the end of it, but yeah, it is so worth it. And I think the other rewarding thing, I mean, you work in this industry so intimately, like this really, like, Realm Fest isn't the only one of its kind. Now there are other festivals. Like, I get alerts for Sisters in the Wild is an adventure. I mean, there's so many women and femme specific uh, uh, adventure companies and festivals now around the world. And it's exploded, and it's so beautiful, because we don't have that limited mindset, like we have to be the only one. It's like,
Yeah.
we would love to continue to be a place where people get to come and celebrate. And if it becomes to the point where, like, we don't even need a Rome Fest, because everything is so incredibly equitable and everybody lives in perfect harmony and everybody knows their worth, that
Yep.
would be a wonderful world to live in. We have a long way to go to get there, but I think good work is being done on so many fronts to
Yeah.
get.
There are a lot of people working very diligently and hard, like you, to make sure other people are felt seen and heard and comfortable. So I
And
love
you
that
too.
so much.
You too. I mean,
um,
that is your platform, right? Elevating and amplifying the voices that would otherwise have been diminished. So
Yeah,
thank you.
working together is what this is all about. Like, working with you guys on this, you all on this, is what it's all about. Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know what? If for those who can't come this year and they want to get involved, is there a way they can get involved with Rome Fest and be a part of it somehow?
Yeah, we have a really fun new series called Rome in the Wild that are popping up. I don't know if
Ooh.
you've seen those on
I
Instagram,
have
but
their Rome pop-ups. I've been seeing them everywhere.
yeah, so we put that out. Our Sienna, our ride coordinator, our ride and shuttle coordinator, I think is her role. She does so much more than that. She is goddess when it comes to shuttles. I don't know how. She's an ER nurse or an ICU nurse by training.
Wow.
So her brain is like, very, very capable. But she came up with this idea, working with our marketing team, of having these pop-ups, because there's so many other ride groups that want to have, you know, a little bit of that Rome magic, and be able to pull in Romies, but also people that are Rome curious. So these
Yeah.
are happening around the community, or around the country, really. I think we have one happening in Tahoe soon. There have been so many happening in Colorado. I know there's been some in Arizona. I want
Let's
to,
do one in California. I don't think there's been one in California. We need to do one here.
well, Tahoe, there's going to be one soon in Tahoe, but you're
Okay.
talking Southern California.
Hang out down south.
When you say California, you just mean
Yeah,
you
I
know
know. I'm sorry. Bad habit. It's a huge freaking state. It's got 32 million people. I always forget, you know. And you know, I give my parents shit all the time because when something happens up north, they'll call me from Australia and they'll be like, I just heard blah, blah, blah happen. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like 9 hours south of that. But you know what I mean? Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Yes.
I'm at Southern California.
Yes, yes, you should. We could totally do one. I mean, that's how this keeps happening is that people are reaching out to our marketing team saying, could I host one? And
Yeah.
it's like, bring a roamie. If you already have an established like network of folks that want to come, or even you're going to attempt this or just launch this, but we end up giving like a little stipend so you can do drinks and food,
Nice.
and then promo codes to be able to attend the festival if that's what you want. But that's one way to get involved, is to come to a Rome pop-up. Uh, Gosh, other great ways. I mean, honestly, when I go to shop, I try to really just shop. It's the same in my local community. I really only try to shop at the businesses that support my local pride, because that hones in for me on the organizations and the businesses that care about me and my community. So I say, like, shop with these vendors that support Rumfest. They're all listed on our website. That's a way to make sure and even letting them know, like, I found you or I support you because you do this work, goes a
Yeah.
long way, is
Yeah.
informing and affirming these businesses for giving a shit.
Yeah.
Uh, Other ways, I mean, don't follow us on socials that weekend. You'll have such intense FOMO. We hear from people like, I thought I could do it. I had a wedding and then the FOMO almost killed me. It is.
That is true. Last year, Jess went and she was trying to get me to come so bad. And I think it was her first Rome Fest.
Yeah.
And she kept sending me photos, and I'm like, look, you have to stop. Like,
Yeah.
this is not cool.
Yeah.
So this year, because we're all going, I'm like, okay, we're going to make people have FOMO.
Yes. Yes.
Wishing they were here, but that's true. People are going to not.
That is a thing. But I think also just other ways to get involved. Yeah, I mean, our nonprofit always accepts donations. You know, if you can't go, but you have the funds and want to support other people to going, and supporting the scholarships, that's a beautiful way. But ultimately, yeah, I would say try to make it happen to join. And we also support a ski festival. This last year, we supported Boot Tan Fest, so that was a blast. That was an all women ski festival in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. So
Awesome.
follow us on socials, and then you can just see what we're up to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we're going to go into some really fun. Now, don't get intimidated. A lot of people get scared when I say this, but we're going to go into some really fun, like, rapid fire questions.
Great. I love
Sam's
that.
like, I did not agree to this
I'm
when you
ready.
asked me to be on here. But one final question before we dive into that. What is it that you hope attendees take away from their experience at Rumfest?
Their worth. I want them to walk away knowing their worth, like, without question.
Oh my God, you're going to make me cry.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what the festival is about. Oh.
If it happens, then that is the biggest win. Yeah.
Oh my God, Sam. I can't wait to give you the biggest hug when I see you in a few months. We're what, like 5 months out, 4.5 months out? Okay, let's
That's my favorite thing. Did you know this? This is my favorite thing, is to hug people. Like,
No, I didn't know that.
I went into a talent show and I said my talent and my favorite thing in the world to do is to hug people.
Yeah.
And so if you want, like, I'm just offering hugs. And like, so many people came up to me over the weekend of that festival and just saying, like, are you the one that gives hugs? And I said, I do. I love hugging people. So yes.
That's incredible. I love that so much. Okay, here we go. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions? And my dog just had to play with a squeaky toy right when I was trying to ask rapid fire. So I apologize if you hear that. Okay, ready? First thing that pops to your head. Clipless or flats?
Clipless.
Chamois or no chamois?
Chamois.
Mountains or desert?
Mountains.
Sunrise or sunset rise?
Ooh,
Ride,
sunset.
sorry. Sawyer's like, my dog's like, Mama, can I play with this? Hold on. There you go, buddy. Sorry, I let him outside real quick so that we don't get distracted.
That's
Okay, yeah. So sunrise rides or sunset rides?
sunset rides.
Music or no music while riding?
Gravel music, mountain, no.
Ooh, interesting. Is it because you need to get like pumped up for gravel because it's just so boring? No, I'm just kidding. Don't hate me, people. I like gravel. I have a gravel bike. I'm just kidding. Do not cancel me.
Way more space for people to pass you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Post-ride bevy of choice.
Ooh, rapid fire. Something sparkling alcoholic. Kombucha. A kombucha.
All right, kombucha, that's a good one. Dream MTV destination. I know these are hard questions.
Oh, I'm not going rapid. I mean, I never have gotten to really enjoy Sedona because I was always working it when we would go. So I want to go to Sedona and just give myself a week to just ride and sit on the rocks and sunbathe. And yeah, Sedona.
I'm there. I agree. Sedona is one of my favorite places in the world. Okay, one mountain bike accessory you can't live without.
A good saddle. Fudge. Riding. I gave birth 5 years ago and still have not found a saddle postpartum that works for me. So saddle, if I can.
Ooh.
I might have one on demo right now that is like pretty good, but
okay. We'll have to talk about that one.
Yeah.
And the last thing, if you weren't mountain biking, you would be ...
Riding around town with my daughter, my favorite thing in the world to do right now.
Oh, that's so good.
I love it so much.
Your daughter, she's 5, I take it? She rides?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. That's
she
incredible.
says, Mommy likes, she goes, Mama loves biking, but I love biking. I was like, I can retire. I did it.
Oh my God. I love that so much. Can you imagine if she goes and wants to do crazy stuff like Red Bull Rampage? What are you going to do?
I am going to take a lot of anti-anxiety meds. Yeah.
I chatted just real quick before I let you go. I chatted with Vinny's mom at Rampage last year because she was there when Vinny was dropping. And I chatted with her for a bit and I asked her, I was like, how are you feeling? You know, it's got to be tough. Like, I'm scared watching them doing this.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. I have confidence that they're going to do the best they can and come down the mountain unscathed was the words that she used. And I was like, oh, awesome. Made me feel a little bit better. Like, you know, because what else can you do, right? Like, it's out of your control.
Yeah. I hope in like 15 years, I have trained my brain to be that calm. Yes. I'm not there today, but I have some time. Right now, the biggest thing she does is drop off the curbs and she loves it. And
oh God. No, I can't do it. There's a reason why I don't have kids. I love kids. I have 3 nieces, 2 godkids, but yeah, no.
No.
Well, Sam, thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say the world needs more and more aunts and uncles and everybody in between. So, yes.
The more help, right?
Yes. We don't all need our own children. That is my biggest message to friends. We do not all need our own. It's
That's
like
true.
a Costco membership. You can share. It's not like a Costco membership. It's not that analogy.
That's going to be the soundbite for the promo of this podcast.
It's just like a Costco membership. Not everybody needs to have their own. No, that's not at all.
And see, no, that was incredible. Thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you in person in a few months and have a blast with you at Rumfest. I appreciate your time. And do you want to say anything before we close out? I know we covered a lot, but if there's something else you wanted to say here, this is your time.
No, it's been so great chatting with you, Mia, and I cannot wait to give you a massive hug. I'm really big, so I can really wrap my arms around you.
I love that so much. I'm not, I'm short. So
perfect. I'll be at your level. I'll come to your level.
That's awesome. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your week and we will chat soon.
Sounds good. So good to talk with you.
Bye.
Bye.